Good morning, everybody. Michael Sellai. I'm the partner of the Managed IT Service Group. I've been in IT for 20 years, helping small, medium-sized businesses outsource their IT. We do support services to security and network implementations. So let's talk about using technology efficiently. So we start off is control your environment. When the pandemic first hit, I saw our customers and a lot of other friends' companies, when dealing with technology, it was, putting out fires. Get people working, getting them onto the systems, whatever it took. So now that everything is starting to come into a new norm, it's time to kind of take a step back and look at, is this sustainable long term? You might have employees using their home computers. All of your applications, all of your IT resources still might be locked in your office, wherever that is. And so let me talk about like some historical systems. So normally legacy companies, they'll have what they call a Microsoft Active Directory server. And these servers are sitting inside your office. They're serving your files, maybe your applications, all of your employees' laptops, desktops are connected to these servers, and it's managing the security, the passwords, everything. And so now that we have to really look at how to make sure your employees are being effective, not just in the office when you guys go back, but maybe potentially more at home. We might be in a shelter in place again, next in the fall and the winter. So let's take a look about how IT manages these resources and manages these devices. So the first thing that I would say is try to eliminate any and all on-prem equipment. So if you have that old server that's running, your accounting package, or you have an old file server, look at solutions to get those out of your office. Look at Microsoft Azure's cloud. Look at AWS's or Amazon's cloud, even Google's cloud. Treat the cloud as, that's going to enable your remote workforce. So now IT's perspective, like, okay, so we have moved everything to the cloud, and how are we going to manage these laptops that we have for all the employees? If you were forced to have employees use their home computers, this is a time to replace that process and maybe issue everybody's laptops. Employees should be working on company-owned equipment. And how do you manage those equipment? So for most of our clients that are a remote first kind of mentality, we move to what they call an MDM, mobile device management. And what does mobile device management do for you? It allows you to control that workstation no matter where it is, be it the office, be it their home, or traveling. One day we all travel again, I promise. But the key part is you want to set security policies. You have this workstation, or have this laptop out and about. You want to control the password complexity. You want to make sure that you're controlling the operating system security patches. The one thing that we have noticed is since the pandemic started, hackers have not stopped. If anything, they've actually kind of ramped up. More viruses are going out, more exploits are being, taken advantage of. So staying on top of your security patches is really important. And with an MDM, you can also push applications. If you have applications that you need installed on your employees' computers, you can use this MDM to push out an application. And then you have a single source for all of your assets that the company owns. You can go into your MDM, you can list all of your laptops, phones, tablets, and manage them right there. To go one step further, if anything is lost, you can actually do a remote wipe. You can kill the device. If, unfortunately, if you have to let an employee go and you need to lock their workstation to protect your information, you can do that with an MDM. So some of the more popular MDMs that we like using. So Microsoft has one, it's called Intune, and then wrapping that with another product called Azure Active Directory can protect your Microsoft-based computers and also give you that MDM feature of being able to push applications. If you're a Mac shop, Jamf is the most popular MDM for Mac. And again, it lets you set policy, lets you push applications, lets you control that device. And then something for organizations that are looking to save money. If you are a G Suite shop using Gmail, using Google Drive, I highly recommend that you look at Chromebooks. They're a very reasonably priced option. Google has built in their own MDM where you can manage that device, push applications, and it is significantly cheaper than a Mac. I put that on the presentation here. And so if you're looking to having to deploy a lot of laptops and the cost of buying Macs or PCs are overwhelming in your Google shop, Chromebooks is an excellent option that you should look at. Let's go to the next slide. So now that I've kind of addressed the fleet of machines that IT is going to be managing and your company's going to be managing, let's talk about applications. So, my mentality is build on the cloud, build to be remote. Collaboration and communication, for years and years, it has been kind of like driven into, IT and business, increased collaboration, increased communication. With an entirely remote workforce, this is more important than ever. Being in an office, it's really common to get up out of your desk, walk over to, a colleague, your manager, and start talking about things. But how do you do that in a remote environment? So all of our customers, we usually put them into kind of two categories again. You're either kind of like a Microsoft shop or you're a Google shop. And it's important to look at the entire ecosystem of one of those two, platforms. So if you're a Microsoft shop, that means that you're using, Outlook, Microsoft Exchange Online. And it's really important to look at all the other offerings that Microsoft has, because Microsoft has done an extremely good job about tying all their products into each other. So Office Online. So with Microsoft's Office 365 offering, most people are buying it to download Office onto their computer. Well, if you're in an organization that's looking to save money, you can get a cheaper plan by just offering Office Online. And there's some really added benefits to that collaboration piece of it. So by pushing Word, Excel, and other documents up into OneDrive, which is their cloud file storage system, you can actually have employees in remote locations working on the same document at the same time. They do give, Microsoft has built in the functionality of being able to do the same thing using OneDrive installed on your workstation and traditional Office that is installed on your workstation. But the real power is having all of that up online in Office 365. Taking advantage of SharePoint. SharePoint used to be an extremely beast of an application for large enterprises. And as it's moved to Office 365, it's gotten a lot simpler. Small, medium-sized businesses can use it for teams and departments, message boards, consolidating documentation, building projects, marketing campaigns. All of this stuff can be centralized on SharePoint, and your team can work collaboratively together on a project. So the same thing happens in G Suite. So if your company uses G Suite, these ideas are probably not foreign, but from Gmail to Google Docs, Drive for Business, or I think they call it Shared Drive now, and Hangouts. And I should also say, Microsoft has really done a big push on Teams, which is their messaging. And it kind of can tie everything in. So both Hangouts and Teams has the ability to link a document, chat with your coworkers, and then go straight into a video chat. Like, hey, I'm working on this document. I have this idea. Can we chat? Can we get on a video face-to-face? And there it goes. The communication to the collaboration all comes together. And when you when you're ready to jump on that call, make sure it's a video call. That is the best thing you guys can do in a 100% remote environment. Having that face-to-face, seeing those visual cues back and forth of somebody taking an idea or thinking, well, maybe that's not a great idea. So, it just all starts to come together. And it's really important to start looking at other third-party apps, just to extend all of that collaboration. Slack is a great one. Slack is such a disruptor to the space that they're saying you don't have to communicate over email anymore because email is kind of slow. But Slack does a great job about integrating all of those applications. Microsoft applications to G Suite applications, to Zoom applications can all be done in a Slack environment. And to some of the other ones, Dropbox, Box, whatever, I see a lot of organizations, they'll say, oh, well, we're going to bring Dropbox in or Box, and that's where we're going to move our file storage. And a lot of pieces that companies miss is if you actually link your Dropbox or your Box to your Office 365 online, you never have to leave the browser to edit a document. It's all done right there. And then to kind of talk about Jill's point, Salesforce, Zendesk, whatever professional application your workforce is using, those are your measurables. Still have a sales staff. It's more important to capture all of their information that they're doing on a daily basis in their native application. Go to the next slide. So kind of brings me to my next topic, which isn't necessarily IT related, but where IT can help. So plan the work and work the plan. I love this story. This story is a Chinese construction company built a 57-story building in 19 days. Absolutely impossible if you think about it. But what really happened in this situation is the company started running up to their winter, and they had a rough winter, and they knew they couldn't do the construction, and so they were sidelined, sitting there waiting for winter to be over. And so what did they do? They just planned the work. They lined it all up, and they were saying, first day of spring, the ground thaws, and we're going to hit the ground running. They had everything sequenced, and boom, they were able to build this building in 19 days. So this time, step back, maybe go a little bit slower. Take a look at all of your employees' processes. How can these processes take advantage of technology? How can these processes be reflected in technology? Gosh, we're a really paper-driven organization. Why are we so paper-driven? Should we look at, DocuSign? our project management is not really centralized. Should we look at third-party apps to help us manage our projects? You know, applications like Smartsheets or Monday or Asana or Microsoft Project. Task lists. Jira and Trello are really, kind of tech-driven applications for the tech industry, but doesn't mean that Trello can't be used for, a traditional company. It's they're complicated task lists. People can pick up tasks, and it's that micromanagement at a macro level. You're not really micromanaging your employees, but you're knowing what your employees are doing remotely. And again, Salesforce, Dynamics, this is, as all your employees are putting their daily work into these tools, leverage these tools to pull reports, send them up to executive, report on the success of your teams. Working remotely, you want to make sure that you're on a secure connection. I communicate to my customers. We're not working from cafes right now, but internet connections that are not yours and you're getting for free. You have to make sure whatever you're doing work related is over a VPN connection, or make sure that you're on a HTTPS session on a browser. So that's what I communicate to my customers. OneDrive is a one-to-one share. So that means everybody has their own OneDrive folder. You can store your personal files, your employee personal files into that. And then you can share individual files and folders to individual throughout the company. Where customers have historically had problems that we've worked with is companies are used to that one-to-many share. Hey, I have the P drive, I have the U drive. Marketing's up on, marketing folder up on the P drive, go get it there. And that's where Dropbox and Box has really been successful, is delivering that one-to-many share, being able to create, the marketing security group, so only marketing people have access to those folders, but you don't have to think about it because they're in the marketing group. Now, Microsoft's done a really good job about leveraging the SharePoint product to allow for that. And we've pushed our customers to build out their SharePoint infrastructure on Office 365 to replace that P drive. And that's kind of how it works. If you're a Google shop, the same thing is in Google. So if you're have Google Drive and you're on the basic plan, you have that one-to-one share. But if you go up to the business plan, you have shared drives, and then you can create team and department for that one-to-many share. So I hope that answers your question. The secure email, I've had clients use an application called Send Safely. It's the most secure email transfer protocol. How it works is in Send Safely, you go and put a file or folder, and then you email that link to into whoever you're sending it to. The other option, if you want to keep it into your native application, is to stop sending attachments. Really, when you send attachments out into the world, you never know where they go past the email that you're sending. So that Word document, that Excel document, it used to be PDFs, but everybody can edit a PDF now. So think about, if you're using Dropbox, if you're using Box, send the link to a customer, to a colleague, to a contractor you're working with. And then they get the link, they can go and download the file. But if you want to take security one step further and say, hey, I'm going to give you access to this file, but you're not going to be able to download it, but you'll be able to read it, you want to own your content. If you send the link to the file using OneDrive, then the recipient will receive the email, they'll see the link, and be able to retrieve the document, and that'll all be done securely. If you're looking at a VPN as a service, and there's no reason for your employees to VPN back into your infrastructure, I think Nord is a great option. Most of our customers that have a remote workforce, we have VPN available for them, and the security policy is that they are on VPN when they're in unsecure, unknown areas. You want to make sure that that traffic, no matter what they're doing, is encrypted in transit, and VPN is really the best option for you. But if you do have the option to roll your own VPN, I highly suggest that. One product that we have rolled out, Palo Alto has an excellent VPN as a service that I've done for a couple of customers. If you're a small business and you're forced to have your employees use their personal computers, the biggest risk is that you don't know what is on that employee's computer. You don't know if they have antivirus. You don't know what programs are running. And so what you really want to do is you want to make sure that you control your environment. So if you're going into the situation, make sure that all of your files are up on a cloud. Make sure that the employees can edit the documents in a cloud environment. So use Office 365, the online version. Review your files and folders on your cloud environment, and not allow them to be opened up natively. Maybe you have to disable, OneDrive syncing application, or Dropbox or Box application syncing, to not allow the employees to be able to sync files up and down from their personal computer. So by basically, taking all those documents and keeping them in the cloud and keeping them on the browser will protect you the best.